Hello and welcome to Casual Chef's Kitchen. I'm Chef Matthew, and today I want to go over some basics for knives. There's some confusion on couple things, and I want to go over those with you. I want to go over cutting boards, honing versus sharpening, washing, and storage. Okay, so let's start with cutting boards. The first cutting board I want to show you. This is a wood cutting board that actually it was gifted to me many, wow, 30 plus years ago by a fine woodworker. But this is a wood cutting board. You want to go with boards that are usually made of maple, but this particular board, this is one of my smallest boards. But this has a combination of hardwoods and some not so hardwoods, but wood is good for boards. The next is basically the plastic boards. I have a couple of these. This is my biggest, and then the other that you can purchase that's good for knives are bamboo boards. Okay, so one of the things I see happening a lot with boards is they're sliding. This happens to be a kind of a rubberized matting. You can get it at any hardware store and even sometimes some grocery stores. This is what I currently have under my main board on my prep table. And I have a spare like this. I have a couple spares because I do use them with this board. You can also use, this is a dry towel, but you can if you wet a towel and put it down under your board, it'll help from slippage. And if not that, at least wet some paper towel and put that between your work surface and your cutting board. Okay? The next thing I want to cover is honing. Honing and sharpening. Basically, this is the brass tacks. Honing is helping to maintain an edge, whereas sharpening is actually reshaping the knife's edge. In proper knife sharpening, it will take a little bit of metal off of that. Okay. Now the tools for honing is your classic steels. Okay, this is a 10-inch steel. This is an 8-inch steel. You know, basically the rule of thumb is if you have this is a 10-inch. This is a 12-inch. I'm sorry. If you have a 8-inch blade like this one, like this chef's knife here, you use basically you use an 8-inch or higher or longer. Okay. So some of the other steels that are in the family, this is a ceramic, which is actually technically for sharpening. And if you have what I consider a damaged blade or blade that you just can't get an edge on, this is a diamond hone. This has actually commercial grade diamonds embedded within the surface. Okay, this is mild, this is medium harshness, and this is extreme harshness. Okay, so unless you know what you're doing, stick with your honing steels. This, like I said, the ceramic and the diamond are harsh. These are more into the sharpening and reshaping of a knife's edge. Okay. Now I'm sharing within this video, within the post, I'm sharing Within this post, I'm sharing multiple links to videos on YouTube that cover honing and sharpening, because I am not an expert. So I refer to these websites, or these websites, aka YouTube videos, to help you, guide you through the honing and sharpening process. Now, there's a lot of debate on these type of sharpeners. This is a sharpener. This is a Wüsthof brand, and basically this has, you can't really see it, but basically V-wedged pieces of metal that are typically harder than the knife, the metal the knife is made out of. Okay, this particular sharpener has a coarse and a fine. So you would run your blade through the coarse, and then you would run it through the fine. Okay, these do remove metal from your blades. Yes, I do have one. I have used it. I now know better. And so going to sharpening. Basic part of honing is, if you look under the microscope, you will notice that the blade edge becomes basically fragmented or bent over. So as you hone a blade, it straightens out the knife edge. That's what honing does. Honing is not sharpening. You can hone pretty much all month long. You can hone all month long, and you're not going to make your blade any sharper. Now you're correcting the edge of the blade, but you're not making it sharper. You're just maintaining the blade. I can't stress that enough. So when it comes to sharpening, I don't recommend the apparatus I just showed you. They come in all different flavors and sizes and so forth. I don't recommend them. And most of your, I would say most, if not all of your professional sharpeners do not recommend them as well. If you want to learn how to sharpen your blades, I would say use the whetstone method. There is a link here in the post to teach you and show you how to use a whetstone for your blades. And the other alternative is calling somebody or contacting somebody like James Slaughter with JS Sharpening, who services the Yuba Sutter area and the Sacramento area. James and I have a long-time relationship. He takes care of all of my primary blades. And so I recommend somebody like that if you don't want to do it yourself, like me. I'm a bit lazy. So the next step is washing. Obviously, we want to be careful. Part of washing, you don't want to put it in a dishwasher, because the high heat can change the molecular structure of the actual blade, of the steel. We don't want that, because when you do that, you're changing the hardness of the metal, and it won't keep its edge very well. Okay, so dishwashers are out. Never put any kind of knife, chef's knife or a paring knife or utility knife in your sink in water. Okay, always hand wash your knives, warm soap and water, dry them immediately so they don't get stained, even though they're stainless. You know, the quote unquote stainless. Stainless will stain if you use it under certain properties, certain ingredients. So make sure you hand wash them, hand dry them, and be careful. Always work from the back or the spine of the blade with a sponge and I use a scrubby. And I normally cut myself when I'm cleaning my blades. But so be careful when you're washing your blades. Now storage. There's a couple different things you could do for storage. You know, one is the traditional knife block, which I've owned knife blocks. I still own knife blocks, but they take up counter space. That's one of the drawbacks of a knife block, is they do take up counter space. I like my workspace. I really do. The other way is the magnetic strip. The magnetic strip I use those in my kitchen, and it gives the knives out of your way. They're up on the wall and they're easily accessible, and they don't damage the blades. One thing you don't want to do is just throw your knives in your drawer. It'll bang them up, it'll nick them up, and it's just not healthy for the blades themselves. Okay, now if you travel with a knife, like I do, this is a knife guard. It's a piece of plastic. It's folded like a taco, a real thin taco, and basically, it's basically a blade vault. So you can put them in a knife roll or into a bag, and it keeps you safe. It keeps the blade safe. And everybody's happy. Okay? And with that, if you have any questions, please contact me. Please check out the links to the YouTube videos that I have in this post. There's a lot of information there, some very great sources. Bob Kramer is a premier knife maker. He's been making knives for, well, probably over 30 years. He's very premier. So he knows what he's talking about. So please, I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great day.